けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね Let's go! ネオンの絡む肌踊る影揺れるステップ流されるままにはにかむ横顔に遠くで響く鼓動探すほど見失い溶けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね嘘でもいいからみんなないものねだりね Let's go! 寂しげな言葉をつぶやく唇を音色と混ぜ合わせて消えてく人の波預ける指先に儚く揺れる光溶けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね嘘でもいいからみんなないものねだりね
失われた声街に飲まれて霞んでいく笑顔遠くになる瞳曖昧な距離さえ甘くてほんの少しでもこの夜に酔わせて
溶けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね嘘でもいいからみんなないものねだりね溶けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね嘘でもいいからみんなないものねだりねララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララララ
is up, everyone? Happy Sunday night. We're at stream number 5 now. Thank you for waiting. Welcome to today's setup of my room. We're going with the orange light and a little bit of Eevee action going on here. Looking super cute. But yeah, thank you for all your comments in the chat already. And so today, stream number 5. Oops, didn't mean to bump the mic so early. We're doing things a little bit differently today. And by a little bit differently, I mean just very slightly differently. So normally we do this 9 to 11, 2 hours. First hour and a half, Japanese language related questions. And then the last half hour, life in Japan related questions. But it always seems like we run out of time for the life in Japan questions. So I've decided to make it 1 hour splits each. So first hour, Japan language related questions. Second hour, life in Japan related questions. Sound good? And you know, this is open to change, so let me know what you guys think and what split you prefer and if we should add anything else in the mix. So without further ado, I will put in the pinned comment for you to ask your questions. So your questions here. Boop. There it is in the chat, and I will pin that. And I will also add it right here. So there's a QR code on the screen as well, so you can ask your questions. While you guys are getting those cooking, we can just chill in the chat. Hey, yo, Tokuyuu. What is up, Deviants? Thank you for dropping by again. Nice setup. Very boring name. Very boring name. Nice to see you out here again. Glad you like the setup. I think the yellow-orange light is probably my favorite. Just has like that nice, calm, cool vibe. And then Eevee. Thought it goes well with the color. So glad you like it. Watching from the Philippines, thank you, Red. Appreciate that. Always love our international love out here. Zanilla Bean, nice to see you again too. Always good to see familiar faces as well as new faces. Yeah, hitting you with the new stuff, Bianca. Gotta keep it fresh, you know. And Kiroy, so the stickers are they're emotes. So unfortunately, YouTube doesn't let me just have emotes for you guys for free. You have to be members. So I made the membership as cheap as I possibly could, which is like $1 Canadian a month, or maybe it's $1 USD a month. I don't know what it is. But if you do decide to be a member, support the channel, then you'll get access to the emotes. But no pressure. We are here just to chat and have fun. Yes, exactly, Bianca. Thank you for explaining. Yes, very boring name. It is a Divoom Pixo in the background. That's what our Eevee is. You know. Tuning in from Florida. Nice. My best friend is from Florida. Well, he's there now, at least, studying medicine. So nice to have another Floridian out here. Pakistan, nice. We're really just all over the world today. Glad you could make it to a stream, Kevin. And Nubis, good to see you again. Emotes looking good on you. Just Darsh, am I planning on making a lifestyle in Osaka or home tour? Maybe in the future. I mean, my apartment, like, maybe it looks kind of spacious if you look at the setup right now, but this is literally like 80% of my apartment right there. So if I did a home tour, it would probably be like a 5-minute video at best. But, you know, maybe sometime in the future and I can throw on some like lifestyle things like, you know, how to cook and I don't know, in Japan, if there's anything specific. Could be a good video idea. So I'll keep that one in mind. Ah, こんばんは。中澤さん、いつもありがとうございます。いつも応援してくれて大変ありがとうございます。はい。Watching from Indonesia, again, just so many countries out here. We love to see it. Watching from the Saitama-Tokyo border. So I'm guessing you commute into Tokyo, and living on that border is probably a little bit cheaper for rent. I'm assuming. Probably a smart play. Weather is good, Vanilla Bean. As we were talking in chat earlier, it is just the sakura season. So we have all the nice sakura trees blooming right now. But it was peak last week. But now it's about like 80% of the leaves have fallen, so they're mostly gone, but you know, you still see them around here and there, and it's still pretty to look at. And there's lots of like sakura petals on the ground as well, which is still a nice aesthetic. But the weather itself is just beautiful. It's like a solid like 20 to 22 degrees outside. Perfect ambient weather. Cannot complain. Austria is the best country, I think guys in the chat will agree. Yeah, because we have like freaking at least 3 Austrians in the chat all the time. So you guys are just out here in numbers. Netherlands. Damn. Romania. Let's go. We got so many people out here. Love to see that. Chat display, is it frozen? Let me see. You might be onto something. I don't know what that blue arrow is. I'm not sure if you guys see that. There's a blue arrow on my screen. It's not really reloading. Let me try to reload the chat real quick. Thank you for the shout out, Bianca. Try doing that. Maybe give her a little refresh. Okay. Hopefully, I think it fixed it on my screen, so hopefully it's fixed for you. Thank you for the shout out there, Bianca. Saving me. Watching from North Korea. Well, thank you for risking your life to watch my stream. I feel I feel like there's maybe some more worthwhile things you could do to risk your life with internet there, but glad to have you here for as long as the officials don't find you. So thanks for tuning in. Jordan, awesome. All right, so I think we've given people enough time to ask their questions. I think we have about 15 in the inbox already. So let's try to get through them. And I always take very long to answer these questions. So I'm going to try to be as succinct as possible so we can get through lots of them. But I still obviously want to give you guys a nice, long, detailed answer. So we'll see. We'll see how I can do here. All right, first question of the day. Okay, let me just resize this on my screen so I can see the whole question. Okay. I've been learning kanji, and I was so proud to recognize heta in a comment on an artist's page. I thought they were calling him unskilled. Okay, yeah, because it's heta. I see where this is going. Turns out it was the VK scene, and it actually means that the dude is the guitarist on the left side of the stage. So it's, I didn't know it had that meaning as well. Is this just a common thing with kanji where they can mean something completely different at different times? Yes, it is. As you see, I just pronounced it heta. And I think this one is actually, if we can switch to my browser here. So I read it as heta, right? This kanji here, which means, like you said, unskilled, poor, awkward. It just means it's the opposite of jozu, right? You're not good at something. But it can also mean shitate, I believe. Yeah, right here. So humble position, inferior. That's kind of a weird way to put it, but it's basically someone's like underling. Okay, that sounds also kind of weird. How do you say that in English? It's like you're their junior. It's like you're under them. It's like you help them. I didn't know you could also work. It could work in the sense of like a guitarist on like the left side of the stage, maybe like a support player. But yeah, shitate generally means someone who's like underling is definitely not the right English word. Junior also doesn't sound quite right, but it's like the opposite of the boss, right? It's the person who's below the boss supporting them. So shitate. So yes, this is a common thing with kanji, unfortunately, that they're, well, I wouldn't say it's crazy common, but it can be the case where there are kanji that have the exact same spelling, like here, heta, and here, shitate. And you can't really know which is which except for context. Okay, so Japanese people, I've also seen them make that mistake as well without having the right context. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. There aren't a lot of cases where this happens, like where it's a total overlap in this case. Usually you'll be able to know. It'll only happen once in a while. So I think you just happen to stumble upon one. And the other few times that it will happen, usually context will let you know. So I would say just don't worry about it. Keep studying, keep moving along, and it will happen. But as you get more and more skilled at Japanese, you'll understand the context and it'll happen less and less often. So yeah, very good observation. Subordinate. Thank you, Maxi. Yes, subordinate is the correct word. I don't know, like underling, maybe I'm watching too many freaking like Disney movies out here or something, but yes, subordinate is the correct term. So that's basically my interpretation of what it can mean. Shitate. Like someone who's hired. For me, it also has the nuances like they're hired to help you out on like a temporary basis. So maybe like a hired subordinate, something like that. Yeah, underling sounds like henchman straight up. It sounds like Despicable Me. And Marmo Tescu, thank you for becoming a Sakura supporter. Heart emojis out here. Enjoy your emotes. And I think with that membership, we can actually add one more emote to the list. So after the stream ends, I'll add another one in there for you guys. Thank you so much for being a supporter. Yeah, sidekick. Lamau. I swear, I thought they were calling my dude from the band Unskilled. Yeah, for sure. I also read it as hit though the first time I read through it, so it's not only you. I would have made the same mistake. All right, next question. How to say oh gosh or oh my god in Japanese? Is there an equivalent? Oh my gosh. There is an equivalent. There is an equivalent. There is almost an exact equivalent. Let me write it out for you right here. How do they write it again? There it is. How do you say oh my god in Japanese? Right here. Oh my god. Oh my god. So you'll hear this a lot in anime, honestly. Oh my god. I've definitely heard this several times in anime and memes. So a lot of times in Japanese, like there's these like fun, I wouldn't say buzzwords, but slang in English, like oh my god, whatever that you say. And in Japanese, they'll literally just take that word and use the katakana, and they'll just make it their own. They'll say it. And it just has like that extra layer of like fun for them because it's a foreign word to them. You know, it's like us in English saying like s'il vous plaît. It's like, ooh, it's a foreign word. Karaoke. Ooh, for them, oh my god. It just like has that extra pizzazz. So this is how you could say it in their way of saying it. They often say this one. If you wanted to use like actual Japanese, I don't know if there's an exact equivalent. Oh my god. Yeah, I have no idea what a Japanese equivalent would be. I mean, you could say like literally just like like what? Or like nandaro, just sugoi, sugoi. Oh my god. It really depends like what case you're using. Oh my god, right? In surprise, usually it's like surprise. Oh my god. You might also just say bikkurishita. I'm surprised. Bikkurishita. Oh my god. Bikkurishita. Bikkurishita. Sugoi. That's probably my best attempt at giving you like the Japanese version. But they also say, oh my god. And if you said that in Japanese as a foreigner, I think Japanese people would absolutely laugh their asses off. So could be something good to keep in mind. And a little bit late, but thank you. Thank you, Neo, for becoming a Sakura supporter. Appreciate you. Appreciate your support always. Thanks for writing some comments in the chat, and thanks for becoming a member. Enjoy your emotes. And Kotatsu Princess, sometimes Google Translate gets confused because it doesn't know the context and gives the weirdest answer. Yeah, that will totally happen because, yeah, I mean, it's getting better. I find that AI, like ChatGPT, is quite good at doing translations. I actually use it more than Google Translate, just because I think it's a little bit smarter in being able to understand the context. But that still is just kind of a limitation of using machine translations, is that they don't understand the nuances as well as a fluent human speaker. But that's just kind of what you gotta work with. Oh, how to say fa fa, like that meme. Yeah, I have no idea how you say that. Asking the important stuff. Yabai. Yeah, you could also say yabai. Exactly, that's definitely a good one as well. So I mean, just the absolute classic yabai. You know, like that's crazy. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good answer. Yabai. That's crazy. That's insane. Yabai. And then, as I mentioned on the last stream, a more like low-key way to say yabai that is like a little bit more slangy, a little bit like if you're in the know, you know, is egri. Egri. So Japanese people will say egri, basically the exact same usage as yabai. So I'd say like any of these, oops. I would say any of these could be like an equivalent of oh my god. depending on how you want to use it and the slight nuance difference you want to convey. All right, good question. Next question. I was learning the kanji from kekko, and to make it really sink in, I looked in some other usages and came across kamao monoka. Is this legit? Tokuyuu sensei no kyoku itadaku made tsukaimasen. Okay, I appreciate that. So, yes, kekko. So kekko. So this is actually a very useful word to know, kekko. When you look it up in the dictionary, it's kind of like a little bit ambiguous, like a nice, splendid, wonderful, delightful. I mean, when do you ever say delightful in English? When was the last time you said delightful? Sufficient, satisfactory, enough, okay? The main usage of kekko is the second one here, sufficient, satisfactory, enough. And you basically just use it like a nicer daijoubu, right? So if, say, the tenii-san at a konbini says, would you like a bag with that? Would you like a bag for your stuff? You can say, daijoubu desu. I'm okay, it's all right. But you can also say, slightly more politely, kekko desu. Kekko desu. Which just means it's enough, it's all right. It's basically the exact same as daijoubu in this case. So that's one really good usage of kekko. It sounds a little bit more polite, a little more educated, if you will. So that is that kanji from kekko. So this second one here, the ko. And when you're looking into other usages, you came across kamao monoka. Kamao monoka. Kamao. Okay, so exact same kanji here. It's the second one. So kamao. To mind, to care, to be concerned about. Kamao. So how you would use this word typically is kamawanai. 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 Kamawanai yo. Stuff like that. So to mind, to care about, if you make that the negative, kamawanai, so from kamao to kamawanai, that means you don't mind, you don't care. And that's how you use it. You say, oh no, don't worry, I don't mind. If someone say is it cool if I come over to your place? You say, oh, kamawanai yo, iyo. It's like, it's okay, don't worry. Kamawanai. So that's how you can say it. And then what you're saying in your question, kamao monoka, that you saw written, kamao monoka. So this one, short answer, don't use that. Do not use that. Monoka, it's also the negative. So it's actually technically the same as kamawanai, kamao monoka. It means you don't mind. Okay, so it's basically the dictionary form, kamao, oops, and then you just add monoka, monoka. But this grammar is basically never used. It's only used in anime or games essentially, and maybe you'll hear a comedian use it for comedic effect. You won't ever use it. So kamao monoka, it basically has the nuances why would I ever care? Kamao monoka, there's no way I would care. So you wouldn't really say it because it's kind of rude, but you would if you're going for a joke or you're really trying to make it sound really strong in an anime or a game, that's when you'd use it. So yes, don't use kamao monoka, but definitely use kekko, like we showed before here, kekko. And definitely use kamao. More specifically, kamawanai. Kamawanai yo. Or if you want to be more polite, zenzen kamaimasen. Kamaimasen. I don't mind at all. Zenzen kamaimasen. Both great to use. Great words that you can use all the time. And that one you have my permission to use. 俺の許可を出そう. This live stream is delightful. Thank you, very boring name. So this is now you've used it. Now you used that word, and now I've used it probably for the first time in my life. I don't know if I've ever unironically said the word delightful. I said delightful when doing a play. Yeah, literally, exactly. Like a manufactured situation is the only time I've ever heard someone say the word delightful. And official Sasidu, don't worry. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the the Marshmallow through the QR code or the pinned comment. All right, shall we move on to the next question then? Hi, when studying kanji, what did you use beside the kanji study app? Would you recommend anything other than the app? So yes, so if you've watched my video on how to learn kanji, you'll know that I use the kanji study app. Kanji study app. And this app is absolutely goated. It's this one right here. So how it works is, maybe I'll just shamelessly plug my own YouTube video here because I actually show off how I use it. But essentially it has all the kanji you ever need from N5 to N1. So like all 2000 and plus, it goes beyond that. And it shows you the radicals, so the components of the kanji, as well as all the common words and uncommon words. So right here, boom. So this is the kanji study app right here. And if we go to about here, so this is like just a little B-roll of me using it. So I just use that. So if you look up, say that word right there, which is like to speak, you, all right? So that's the kanji right there, you. And then you can just swipe down and then boom, now it has all the common words associated with it, like you, to speak, of course, the most common one, and then kotoba, like words, language, etc. Hitokoto, just a single word, say a few words, brief comment, etc. Gengo, language, another huge one. So how I'd use the kanji study app is I would go through literally all kanji. I literally use this for all 2000 kanji, and I would write down that kanji and all the associated words that are common, and then just write the kanji over and over and over again until it like sticks in my head and I can do it from memory. And then I would review it for the next 3 days, including the vocab. So it's a nice 2 birds with 1 stone because I'm learning the kanji and I'm learning the common words associated with it. So I'm learning kanji and vocab, and it makes it easier to remember. It makes it easier to remember each of them because when they're associated, there's more context. So would I recommend anything else? Totally feel free to use whatever works for you. I've heard really good things about Wanikani. So this one's also an app. App/website. I don't know if they have like an example of how it works, but my friends, Benji West included, Kotatsu Princess as well. Maybe if you're still in the chat, you could say something about your experience with Wanikani. But this is also similar to kanji study. It's kind of like a combination of kanji study and Anki, because it gives you the kanji and the words that you have to remember, and it'll make sure it tests you after a few days to make sure you keep remembering them, which is honestly a great system. Like SRSs, the spaced repetition system, where they show you the words when you need to know them, or in this case kanji. It's a great way to keep them in your head. So you could use Wanikani. You could also just use kanji books, like remembering the kanji. I think this is a bit older because this was around when I started studying, like 12 years ago. Oh, 1977, that's kind of wild, but it's probably still relevant because people were still talking about it when I started studying Japanese. And it'll basically, I think it has all the kanji that you'll ever need to know, and say common words, it seems like, you know, right here. And they'll also give you a little bit of a mnemonic as well, I'm pretty sure. So they'll give you the character and then give you a little memory trick, you know, to remember it. You know, so for bright, this one right here, very small font, and me increasing the size of the web page unfortunately doesn't increase the size of the picture here. But this one right here, if you can see it, so bright, it's a combination of day and moon, and they'd probably just like make up some mnemonic, some sentence talking about, oh, the day is like begins when the moon goes out and that's why it's bright, etc., etc. And they'll have like that kind of mnemonic for each kanji. That's what I've heard. I can't recommend anything in particular because I use the kanji study app, but whatever resource works best for your style. There's totally a ton of good resources out there, and there's no right answer. It's just whatever works with what works with you. Yeah, the kanji study app is only for smartphone, but Wanikani is also for PC. And I think it's also on smartphone as well because my friends were using it on their phone. So it's nice that it can do both. If you feel like using your PC or your smartphone, you can use either. And Bianca says Wanikani is goated. Yeah, I've heard only good things about Wanikani. I have several friends who use it. Okay, for Wanikani, only the first 3 levels are free. Yeah, so at least you get to try it out. It does cost quite a bit from what I remember. I'm not sure if they'll have the price. Wanikani. You know it's expensive when they don't have the price directly on the website. Price. I think it's a subscription model. Yeah, so 90 USD a year. Which, you know, it's not the worst. Like, if you're going to use it, like, seriously use it, totally worth the investment. If you don't want to use it, or if you're, like, really, you know, scraping by, there are other ways to do it, like the Kanji Study app. Kanji Study app, I can't remember how much it was, but it's really cheap. Kanji Study app price. $10 to $30. I'm not sure which one it is, but it was in that range when I bought it. Yeah, really good app. And pay $5 to get rid of ads. Maybe it's only $5, but it's quite cheap. It's a good alternative. Thank you. That was my question. I'm only N5 and trying to lock in. Great. Yeah. Keep up the good work. Congrats on making it to N5. Keep it up. And yeah, at the end of the day, there's so many resources you can use. Try them all a little bit. See what you find clicks with you and just run with it. And Kiroi uses an app called Japanese. Interesting, very general name. Glad it works for you. All right, let's move on to the next question. Any good tips on how to effectively study and practice grammar? I've been consistent with my kanji and vocab, but I'm struggling to find the time to practice or go through grammar. Yeah. Yeah, that's very fair, because like I was just talking about using the Kanji Study app here. Like, it's very easy to get into a habit of studying kanji and vocab, I found, because I did it every day. Like, I was just writing down 5 characters every day, reviewed the past 15, write down the words associated with them, and that was my kanji and vocab practice for that day. And I did it for like 267 days in a row, something like that. And if you use Wanikani, then again, it'll do the kanji and the words very easily. It'll show you the ones you need to know when you need to see them, and etc., etc. But the grammars, it is definitely a little bit trickier, because first of all, it won't be in the Kanji Study app. I think Wanikani might have the grammar in there. I can't remember because I haven't used it personally. I've only heard what my friends have said. I'm struggling to find time to practice or go through the grammar. Yeah, I would say at the end of the day, you have to treat it very similarly to the vocab and kanji. So whatever resource you're using, say if it's Tae Kim's Guide to Japanese Grammar or a textbook, it can work with anything. You just have to treat it exactly like you would. Oops. There it is. Just treat it exactly like you would the vocab and kanji. So if you go to the basic grammar here, just be like, hey, I'm going to learn like 1 lesson of grammar each day, and just make it a habit, just like you would the vocab and kanji. It sounds like you're chugging away at that pretty well, probably because you have a good study habit, maybe a daily habit. Make something easy for grammar as well. If you can't do like a full lesson because it's a lot, just do half a lesson, or like a third of a lesson, like one like, you know, paragraph of that lesson, and commit to doing one of those every day, and then get into that habit. Because like we talked about earlier, you know, a lot of the psychology of studying is just starting a streak, and then your brain just will not let you break that streak because you want to keep it going. So count the days too, if that helps you as well. Be like, okay, I studied grammar now 7 days in a row, now 14 days in a row, now 20 days in a row, and it'll just help you keep going. And the key to that is to first track it, of course, but also to make sure you're setting a goal that you can stick to. So if that is just like doing like 1 paragraph of grammar, do that. And then just say like, okay, when I finish like 5 chapters of grammar, then I'll like review it and go through it again. And then you'll get to review it again, and it'll make it easier to not forget. That would be my advice. Yeah, Bianca feels the same. Learning my 10 vocab every day and do wanikani 3 times a day with the grammar. Yeah, it can be tricky because it's not as like concrete as like a solid learn 3 words or learn 5 kanji. It's like grammar. It's like, yeah, I mean, you can treat it just like its own thing, like one new grammar. And again, it can be a little bit more ambiguous to study, but at the end of the day, you can still break it down like you do with the kanji and vocab. Kurishu, konnichiwa. Yes, I do remember you. Thank you for dropping in again. Nice to see you. Mentioning psychology with me is a sensitive topic. Hey, we talked about it last time. You're the one who brought it up, that the streak system is a good way to keep going. So you've done this to yourself. What do I think is harder, the kanji, vocab, or grammar? Grammar. Yeah, it really depends what stage you're at. I'd say in the beginning, kanji and grammar are the hardest because it's such a new concept. It's such a new concept if you're an English speaker or someone else, like French speaker or, you know, whatever speaker. Unless you're a Chinese speaker, then you know the kanji, but basically any other language, it's super foreign. And having to get used to studying kanji is just such a wall in the beginning. And same with the grammar. Unless you're Korean or speak Korean, the grammar is just so different. It's like, it's literally backwards from English. Like the verb comes last, which you have to, it takes so much time to wrap your head around that. And of course, all the other elements of sentence structure, that in the beginning, it's just such a big hurdle. But as you get better and better, you notice that the grammar and kanji are actually not that bad. Because once you get going, like, hey, sure, the first 100 kanji were a little bit tricky to wrap my head around, but everything after that, okay, it's basically just combinations of the more basic kanji that I already know. You just keep chugging away, and now you know how to study kanji. And same with the grammar. Yeah, at first, it's just like this huge soup of words, and you have no idea how they work. But once you get going on understanding the most basic grammar, then learning the more advanced grammar, it's pretty logical. It just fits in those slots. It's basically also just build up of the more basic grammar you already learned. But the vocab, in the beginning, it's the easiest because it's the most easy. It's the easiest concept. There's this word I don't know, I learn it. Okay, cat, it's neko. Okay, I just need to learn that neko is cat. Neko is cat. Very easy concept. Okay, inu is dog. Inu is dog, right? You just like associate the words. Very straightforward. There's no hurdle like learning kanji or grammar, which is like totally new. But why it gets a little bit harder as you get better and better at Japanese, it doesn't necessarily get harder. It just doesn't get easier per se, because there's just so many words in a language. Like I think we looked it up earlier. There's only estimates because there's no concrete answer, but Japanese has like about, say like 20 to 30,000 words that a native speaker knows. And it's just like, there's even more than that too. And it's just like, you'll always hear words you don't know. You know, of course, as you get better, it'll become less and less frequent, but there will always be words you don't know. Even in your native language, there's words that you don't know, right? And more so for a second language. So that's why vocab honestly is trickier for me right now, because it's just, you know, endless. You know, you always got to keep going at it. But, you know, it's not all dark and gloomy. Like, I enjoy the challenge, and I like that I feel like my Japanese is always improving a little bit. And, you know, it gives me something to strive towards. Like, I can always get better at my Japanese. I can learn more words and use them in my day-to-day life, you know? So that is my answer. If my friend were to learn Japanese, she would do it fast since her mother tongue is Chinese. 100%, yeah. If you know Chinese and you're trying to learn Japanese, it is just such an advantage because you get to know like basically all the characters. More so if you're from Taiwan, because they use the traditional characters, which is the same as Japanese use. Whereas if you're from mainland China, they use the simplified characters. So they're a little bit different, but there's still a lot of overlap. And it's just a huge advantage to go through because you're basically like everyone else learning Japanese. Sure, the grammar stuff, the vocab stuff, but kanji is basically like so much easier to learn. And then for Koreans, it's that, but with grammar, essentially, is my understanding. I don't speak Korean, but they don't know the kanji, but the grammar is very similar to Korean. And Nora, welcome back. Thank you for supporting as always. Yeah, I didn't think I'd get to love kanji this much. Now I don't like it when they write it all in hiragana. Yeah, I know, right? It's like, come on, I just put in so much time to learn kanji and you're just gonna write it in hiragana anyways. Like, let me enjoy the fruits of my labor. 100%. And now it's vocab that's tougher for me. I wonder if you feel the same. What do you guys think about shadowing Japanese music? What do you think about shadowing Japanese music as music is so fun? Yeah, totally. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I love singing. I just love to sing and I sing Japanese songs as well. I wouldn't necessarily use it as your sole source for learning because songs definitely use a lot of poetic words and they also have some different intonations sometimes just to like match the flow of the song. So it's definitely a good bonus supplementary resource if you're shadowing. But at the end of the day, it is like a little bit more unique Japanese. So I would use it as like a supplement rather than a main study resource. Krishu, thank you. I'm glad my my content could help you out. Appreciate that. I'm glad that it becomes your motivation. Yes, oh my god, I started reading a novel a couple of weeks ago and it felt like I looked up every second word. I know. There's so many words in Japanese. It's crazy. It goes crazy. All right, next question. After I take my swig of water. Since I want to pass the JLPT N4 in December, I should probably also focus on reading. Any good recommendations on where and how to practice it? Thank you. Bing. Yeah, 100% you should practice reading for the JLPT. I'd even argue it's probably the most important because I first started by taking the N2, right? So there's N5 all the way up to N1, the highest level. And I jumped to N2 because I was like, you know, screw it. Why do I need to take the lower levels? And I failed that test. I failed it. And the main reason I failed it was because of the reading. Like it just took me so long to get through the reading passages. I remember I got through maybe half, maybe 2/3 of the questions. And then I was literally out of time and I had to just like circle a bunch of random answers for like the last third. And obviously didn't pass. So 100% the reading can be the hardest part. So definitely practice. Any good recommendations on how and where to practice? So if you're at an N4 level, it'll be some pretty basic reading, so you don't want to be buying, say, Japanese books or novels. A really good textbook series I like is the Shinkansen Dokkai. So Shinkansen is the name of the textbook series. I think maybe technically it's called a workbook. Yeah, there we go. And it looks like this, okay? Shinkansen. So, in case the kanji is a little intimidating, Shinkansen and Dokkai. That's how you read it. Okay. So, yeah, this book I really like. This is what I used for N2 and N1. So, Shinkansen Dokkai. So, they have a lot of workbooks in their series. The Dokkai version, it literally means reading. And what it is, it's basically like a compilation of passages that are based on JLPT questions. It's the exact same style of questions that you'd see on the test. And it gives you the practice to read through it and then do the multiple choice answers in response to those passages. It's great practice because it's the exact same format and you can time yourself as well because you can then see if you're going fast enough for the exam. So I really recommend this to practice. It's probably better at the end as you're getting closer to the exam itself, because it's kind of prepping you to like time yourself. If you want to just do some basic reading, I mean, there's like the graded readers. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. Graded readers, PDF, Japanese. I mentioned this in another video. I think this is probably it, but it's basically a PDF file of, look at this. I don't know if you can see this number here. 931 pages of basic reading. I think they have multiple levels. Yeah, it looks like they do, because this one starts at level 0. Oh, it's literally like a picture book, blue. But if you scroll down a bit further, this is also level 0. I mean, you'd probably have to scroll down really far because there's 900 pages here, but there's higher levels to it, and it'll probably be in the ballpark of your N4, like right here. This one looks like a good one. 200本. And they even have the reading as well, which is great. あります. たくさんあります. And what they are, they're basically like readers. Okay, so that was talking about there's 200 bones in the body. 200本あります. 何本あるでしょう? So yeah, it's just like a great free resource if you want to do some basic reading practice. So consider using this. And there are other things like I mentioned in my kanji video, actually. Kanji. There's also, I think the app is called Todai, where it's just basic Japanese news, and you can adjust it to your level. So if you're an N4 level, or you're trying to get to an N4 level, then you can look for articles at an N5 or N4 level, and then it'll adjust it to your level. That's also great practice. At Kishiba, how is it going, my beautiful member? And your Sakura has upgraded to 2 petals. Amazing. Where are you? Where am I? I am in my home in Osaka. That's where I am. Where are you? And UG, if you have questions, feel free to put in the QR code so I can get to them. But yeah, just to quickly answer, can you buy property in Japan without citizenship? You can. But yeah, there's processes to it, and I might actually cover it in a video upcoming. Great advice. Thank you, Toku. Hopefully you can read my JJK doujinshi at some point. They make that? Jujutsu Kaisen doujinshi. Well, you know, I'm glad you have something in your life that you really enjoy. How tall are you? 185 centimeters. All right, next question. Hey, Tokuyuu. So yeah, my question was, does marks really matter, like our grades, for any uni in Japan, or to like fill up forms for, e.g. like the MEXT form? Secondly, is there any way to change names in Japan? Thanks. So, do grades matter for unis in Japan? To get into university, typically it does. So I would say Japan is opposite from the West in terms of the school system. So in the West, typically high school is a breeze. It's a joke. You get free 90s. If you're cool with your teacher, they'll give you a free 80, a free 90, whatever. But once you get to university, they say that's where the smart kids go to die, right? The smart kids with bad study habits in particular. Because you go there, you think it's going to be a breeze like high school, but boom, you get all this workload. You have to actually study like a week in advance to do well on these tests. You can't just do an all-nighter the night before and do well most of the time. And the university is the one that kills people. In Japan, it's the opposite. So high school is the really hard one. People study forever. They go to juku, or like after school classes, to do extra studying so they can improve their grades even more. And then that's to get good grades so they can get into a good university. But once you get into the university, it's literally called the summer vacation of your life. Like literally, I had friends during university who came on exchange from Japan, I went to one of their classes in Japan. It was crazy. Like, I couldn't believe it. In Canada, you're sitting there, everyone listens to the prof. If you're talking in class, they will kick you out. It doesn't matter if it's a class of 200 or 300 people. If you're talking while the professor's talking, they will boot you out. In Japan, it was a class of like, say, 50, 70 people. Professor was there at the mic stand at the front of the class, in front of the chalkboard. At the podium, he was looking down on his textbook or workbook, whatever he was reading from, mic in hand, looking down, and he was just reading like this. And no one was listening to him. Everyone was talking. No one was looking at him. They were all like looking to their sides, talking to each other, laughing, blah, blah, blah. Teacher did not care. He was just like reading, mumbling through. Even if I tried to listen to him, which I did, I couldn't hear him because everyone was talking. It was crazy. No one cares. No one gives a shit in the university in Japan, for a lot of cases at least. It's literally the summer vacation of their lives. So that's why do grades matter for uni in Japan. To get into uni, yes, it does matter. But once you're in uni, it doesn't matter as much. As long as you graduate, most Japanese companies will hire you. That's why there's not a whole lot of pressure to perform well. It's just about, can you get into a good university? And it's all about the name of the university. And if you can graduate from there, you're good to go and you can get a job. So yes, I think marks will matter if you want to get into a university in Japan, and for forms like MEXT, especially MEXT, because MEXT is a full scholarship to study at university in Japan. They'll totally pay for your tuition. They'll also cover your cost of living and give you allowance. So it's very competitive. So grades will almost certainly matter. I'm not an expert, but I could almost with full confidence say grades would matter. And is there any way to change names in Japan? Yes, there is. I recently heard that when you become a citizen, when you naturalize, they'll give you an opportunity to change your name. And I would say probably as a permanent resident, I don't know. Maybe you'd have to change that in your home country first and then move to Japan, and then that's your official name on your passport. Don't think you could do it without actually being a citizen in Japan. That's what I would say. Yeah, if you know the Japanese school system, you know the Japanese school system. 100%. It's different. A lot of pressure in high school, zero pressure in university. I don't know if one's better than the other, but that's just how it is. What's the best unis and credible in Japan? Let's say top 10. I could not give you a top 10 off the top of my head, but I can tell you the top 2 is Tokyo University, Todai, and Kyoto University, Kyodai. Those are definitely the most credible, reputable, famous universities in Japan. Couldn't tell you the rest. But there would definitely be lists online. How about a master degree in Japan? Hard to say because I've never done it. And at the end of the day, that probably depends on your professor. I think my Japanese friend, did his master's in Japan. And it was actually tough. Yeah, he worked some long hours, definitely full-time, probably even did overtime. I think he even talked about having a mattress in the lab because he was a science student. So they were working in the lab, basically like a full-time job. And there was a mattress in the lab for you to sleep on overnight, wake up, back at it again. So that was definitely tough. And it really probably depends on your professor. Are they laid back or are they like a black company, you know? So that one I think is probably a little bit more situational. For my exchange semester, I'm trying to get into either Gakushuin or Meiji University. At least for an exchange semester, the grades certainly matter to get into the program. Okay. Thank you for your input, Bianca. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense for exchange students that grades matter a little bit. Because, I mean, it's probably competitive, right? I mean, Japan is definitely a desirable country to go to as exchange. You know, it's very famous for being fun and, you know, anime. So there's probably a lot of people applying for it. And then, yeah, maybe the universities themselves also expect a lot from the exchange students. So thanks for the input. Will I change my name? I mean, I'm not planning on naturalizing anytime soon. So not right now. And I probably wouldn't change my name anyways. Do I know about being a recruiter in Japan? No, I don't. Senmon gakko is a trade school in Japan. It's basically like a community college. Oh my god. Love it, Aki. Using the Japanese version of oh my god, as we've learned. All right, next question is already 9:50, so we got 10 more minutes of Japanese language questions. Just realized I answered a non-Japanese language related question, so that's on me. So let's try to do a Japanese one. A lot of life in Japan. Okay, here's one. Oops. Get the question back for me. I am aiming for N2 this year. If you had to pick just one daily habit that makes the biggest difference for N2 reading speed, what would it be? Great question. Yeah, so I'd say the number one thing you can do, of course, do your reading practice. And at the end of the day, it comes down to, can you recognize the characters as a group rather than reading them individually? This was my problem when I failed the N2 exam, so don't do this. So, for example, even this one right here on the screen, kekko. Yeah. Let's just write it like that. So kekko. So say that word comes up on N2. You probably very well know it by N2, but for example, kekko. You want to be able to recognize it as a group. So as kekko, boom, that means splendid or satisfactory. Move on. You don't want to not know that word and have to be like, okay, so this one means to tie, you know, it's like this one, right? So musubu, okay, to tie. And this one, okay, it means like posture stance. I remember that. Okay, so to tie, posture stance, okay, it probably is read as like ketsu, ketsuko, kekko. Okay, what is that? Kekko, I'm not sure. You're screwed. If you're doing that, you're done. This is my problem when I took the N2, when I failed it. I was trying to read each character individually, but you just do not have time for that. You have to be able to recognize words as they are and move on. So one daily habit that makes the biggest difference, do lots of reading practice and learn vocab. Okay, it's not just about learning the kanji, but know the associated vocab with that kanji and just learn to recognize that word as itself. It's the same in English. So if you say like, just say like the word, we can even use the exact same one. So say satisfactory. Oops. All right. You probably aren't aware of this, but when you look at the word satisfactory, you read it as a whole. You look at the shape of the word, right? Okay, let me try to draw this on my whiteboard here. I think this would make it a little bit easier to visualize. Okay. Okay. So when you see the word satisfactory, if you're an English speaker, you don't read each letter. You don't say, okay, satisfactory. What does that mean? You just look at it. Okay, this shape, this literally like, okay, it starts with SAT. You probably don't even go beyond that in the first like 0.1 second that you're reading it. You just kind of like see the shape of the word and that it starts with SAT and maybe that ends in RY and you're like, hey, it's satisfactory. Boom. You recognize it as you see the word as a whole and you know it's satisfactory. Okay, it means good, right? That's how we work in English. And it's the same for Japanese. You don't want to go through each letter or like radical or kanji. you want to be able to see it as a shape, essentially. So see it as a shape and be like, okay, this is kekko. This shape of characters is kekko, and it means satisfactory. That's the key to being able to read fast enough for N2. And daily study habit, I would say, is just 1, do your vocab studying, and 2, do lots of reading practice. At the end of the day, you just need to know that vocab and be able to recognize it quickly enough. And at the end of the day, those two, doing the vocab studying and reading practice, is all you can do to get faster and faster at it. That's the key. And if you want practice, again, the Shinkansen series is great. So if we go Shinkansen, Dokkai, N2, boom, boom. This one right here. Great book. It's basically just manufacturer's questions that are almost identical to what will be asked of you on the JLPT. And that's a good way to test yourself and see if you're going fast enough. You should definitely time yourself if you do the questions in this book. And then you'll see if you're doing fast enough or you need to speed it up even more. Ooh, that's my question. Yeah, good question, Yo. Thanks for asking the question. And I do know Sora the Troll. Vaguely. I don't watch a lot of their videos, but I've definitely heard of them and seen them in passing online. Yeah, I just realized Japanese people can't pronounce F. They can actually. Like Facebook. Facebook. Like they'll pronounce that properly. Might be a little bit different, but for the most part, it's an F. So, yo, Tokuyuuさん、日本語勉強してきてもう10ヶ月くらいするけど、敬語まだ結構やばいんですけど、なんかアドバイスあんの? Yeah, I mean, Keigo is definitely going to be tough, even after 10 months, for sure. Like the polite language. At the end of the day, just gotta study it. It'll come up in the grammar, for sure. Just keep studying the grammar and do lots of listening. And where do you take the JLPT tests? If you look online, then it'll tell you what the test sites are. And there's several test sites in most major countries. Like in Canada, they offer it in Toronto, as well as Vancouver, I think, and Calgary. And they only test 2 days of the year. So it's only December or July. I think it's the first Sunday in December or July, but don't quote me on that. And sometimes the test site will only do it in December or July. So once a year. If you're lucky, then twice a year. But that's it. And then in Japan, it's like it's all over the place. You could take it in pretty much any like mid to large size city. Okay. Do a quick little refresh. Try to get us. Go back to the whiteboard. Let's see if we can find some last minute Japanese related questions, since we should technically switch, but I did answer one Life in Japan question, so maybe I'll try to get to one more Japanese language related one. Okay, what are your thoughts on going to language school as a beginner and then to look to get a job after learning Japanese for a year or two? It depends how good the school is and how much you put into it. If you're talking about like a job in Japan, like a full-time job in Japanese, you typically want at least N2 level of proficiency, N2 or N1. N2 in 1 year, especially if you don't speak Chinese or Korean, it's gonna be pretty tough. So I'd say that's gonna be a challenge. 2 years, it's doable if you put in the good work. Like if you're studying full time and not just at school, but you also study in your own time as well. Like you're reviewing properly, you're going out there and using it as much as you can, listening to it through your podcasts or your shows, etc. Then yeah, I think 2 years is totally reasonable, but it all depends on what you put into it. Sorry, I gotta stop bumping the mic here, but it all depends on what you put into it. And again, like if you're going to school, language school, and it's not full-time, then it's going to take longer. If it is full-time and it's like a hardcore course, it'll take a little bit shorter. So it really depends, and you can usually tell. Like I think the courses will tell you what level it will get your Japanese up to, and if you put more into it, then you'll just get more out of it as well. So that's what I would say. Can I master N3 or N2 Japanese by September if I'm a beginner? Very unlikely, I would say. Unless you work, like you study hella every day, like 8 hours plus, and bonus if you know the characters already because you're Chinese, then maybe. But that I think is a bit too short of a time frame. How long did it take for you to start understanding Japanese? Yeah, I used to think that understanding Japanese and becoming fluent would just be like a switch. Like, I remember watching, what's his name? Japanese from Zero. Japanese from Zero. This guy right here. I can't remember his name. I used to watch him all the time when I first started my language studying. But he, I think, moved to Japan when he was younger, like maybe teenager. And he was like studying it, going to school, etc., etc. And he talked about how he just had a shower moment. Like he was just taking a shower in Japan. It had been a few years that time. And he was like, huh, I'm fluent in Japanese. And ever since watching that, I always waited for my shower moment. Like I always wanted to have that feeling of I'm taking the shower and I'm like, I get it now. I understand Japanese and I speak it so well. But in my opinion, it's not really a switch, at least for me. It's just a very long gradient. In the beginning, you'll study a little bit and you'll understand a little bit. And after studying it for maybe a year or two, you know, a solid amount of studying, you'll understand a solid amount, but there'll still be a lot that you don't understand. And then just the more you study, the more you learn, the more you immerse, the closer and closer you get to understanding everything. But you'll never understand everything. Like even as a native speaker, you know, there's words in English that I don't understand. There's some people who speak who I don't totally understand either. So you just get closer and closer. And I find that there's no clear point in where you're just like, I'm fluent, I made it. So, I mean, obviously he felt like he had that shower moment, but for me, it's kind of just a very slow gradient. If I were to give you an estimate of a good level of, oh, I can understand Japanese now, I would say like N3, N2, if you're doing some good listening practice as well. Then that's the point where you start to understand some basic conversations. And that's like 80% of Japanese, right? Basic conversations. So that's why I recommend getting N3 before moving to Japan, because it'll get you to the point where you can understand basic conversations, and then being immersed in the country and using it every day and hearing it every day, you'll just slowly, naturally get better, and it can build from there. So I would say N3, N2, if I were to give you a concrete answer. But you'll always have more room to get better. All right, so it is now 10:05, so we're gonna start doing some life in Japan related questions. Let me take a little swig first. Okay. Oh, his name is George, I'm pretty sure. Georgie. I think that's his name. But I used to like watch him like when I first started studying, like 12 years ago. He's definitely an OG. Okay, let me refresh this inbox real quick. And now I will prioritize life in Japan related questions. Oops. Let me just... My browser just reset my questions, but they're still here, don't worry. Okay. Are Western universities credible in Japan as they are in other countries? Yes. I would say yes with an asterisk. I'm not an expert on this topic by any means, but as I mentioned in my PR video, boop boop, I got PR through a point system, like highly skilled professional point system. And one of the requirements, this was like the crux of my video, if you graduate from a reputable university, then you get an extra 10 points for your application. And 10 points is huge. It made the difference between me being able to get PR and getting rejected. So because I had graduated from since I graduated from a reputable university in Canada, I got those 10 points and I was able to get PR. And those reputable universities are based on not even a Japanese list, but I think like an all international top 300 universities list, something like that. I think there is a specific list that they reference, and I'm not sure if there's like a big official one, but it's not even like based on like the Japanese opinion. It's like whatever the top 300 or so universities are internationally, those are considered reputable, and it does change. So if your university is like kind of near the bottom, then it could like fall out, or it could come back in, or it could come in for the first time, etc., etc. So in that sense, in applying for PR, Western universities are credible and seen as credible. But the reason I put an asterisk on it is that I think most Japanese people and Japanese employers won't really know any Western universities except for like the famous ones like Harvard or Stanford, Cambridge. So that can, I think, maybe throw some people off. Like if you graduate from a pretty good university, but it's not like Harvard level famous, then they might not know how good it is. And that could affect your application to jobs. But if they're a good employer, I'm sure they'd do their research. But if you're applying for like, say like a master's degree or a PhD at a university in Japan, then yes, Western universities are definitely credible, and they'll definitely, for the most part, I imagine, take that into account when deciding whether or not to accept you. So in that sense, they are. But if you're using it to apply for employers, then it might not be as well known. Toxina, what is up? My beautiful, beautiful editor who does my shorts for these streams. So if you guys seen any of the shorts or Insta Reels or TikToks based on the stream, it is made from this beautiful person, Toxina. If you die in Japan, do you die in real life? No, you don't. Because living in Japan is an anime. And, you know, if you die in an anime, it doesn't count as real life. So you're chilling. Do I have to disclaimer that? I can't get sued for that, because if you die, then you can't sue me. Just kidding. Just kidding, guys. Don't sue me, please. And Yanis, nice to see you out here. A little bit late. No worries. No worries. You're still here for the second half. And yeah, guys, if you have some questions, feel free to put them in the Marshmallow in the Q&A so I can actually give you a nice long answer. Because I got a lot built up over here, so I want to get through the ones. I want to prioritize the ones that are in the Marshmallow. I thought you just get isekai'd or something. Yeah, 100%. Yes, exactly. Sorry. You're 100% right. If you die in Japan, you get isekai'd, you become like a slime in an alternate universe that's like super overpowered, and then you become friends with a dragon, specifically named Valdora. So don't worry about it. You'll be okay. All right, let me try to find a life in Japan question. Here we go. Hi, Tokuyuu. Hi, Serum. Nice to see you out here. Thanks for dropping by. I've heard about the work culture in Japan is very bad. Is it really? As long as there is enough time for me to sleep and spend time with myself or with others. Okay, so IDM, I'm guessing, means I don't mind. So you don't mind as long as there's enough time to sleep and spend time with yourself and others. That's good. That's good that you have, I guess, a high tolerance for long work hours, it seems. Is the work culture in Japan really bad? Yes. Yes, it is. It does depend on the workplace. So I did a video on this. What is it called? I think job is my command for it. And it's based on how I got my job in Japan. Yes, that is correct. So I mentioned in this video, so the average workday in Japan is not 9 to 5, but 8 to 5. Okay, so you're already working an extra hour. You get a little bit cucked there. But not only that, the average overtime per day is 2 hours. So that means not 9 to 5, not just 8 to 5, but 8 to 7. 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's 11 hours minus, say, lunch break that you're working on average in Japan. So up to you. Is, working 8 to 7 enough for you? I mean, definitely enough if you get sleep. You could definitely get 8 hours of sleep still. You get home, depending on your commute. So the commute is also something that gets you, right? So if you're working in Tokyo, living in Tokyo is really expensive, especially if you're just starting off at your job. You're probably not getting paid a whole lot. If you're working in Tokyo, you probably commute from outside of Tokyo or very, very away from the central part of Tokyo. So usually outskirts of Tokyo or Kanagawa or Chiba, maybe even Saitama. And that can mean a 1 to 1.5 hour commute. So if you're working 8 to 7 and your commute is even just 1 hour, that means what? 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, so now it's getting a little bit tighter. Okay, so now you get home at 8 p.m. You make dinner, you eat food. If you're really fast, then you're done at 8:30, but probably closer to 9, right? And then what, if you want to get at least 7 hours of sleep? I mean, what, if you got to leave at 7 a.m., that means you go to bed at 12. Okay, so you have 9 to 12. Is 9 to 12 enough time for you to spend time with yourself and spend time with others? It could be, if that's enough time for you. But it can be tough. Like, that's the average in Japan, right? And that's just assuming 1 hour commute, and it could be longer than that. So yeah, the work conditions are pretty bad in general. Like, that as the average is pretty tough in my opinion. That's pretty tough. But it depends on the workplace. Like, as I mentioned in a previous video, let's see if I can find it. There is a difference between, let's see if I can find it here. All these past notes, very nostalgic. Where is it? That was a recent one too. It was Naishike versus Gaishike. Oh, here it is. Very small font. Boom, boom. Hopefully you can see that. Yes, you can. So typically, if you work for Naishike or domestic companies, you will work those hours. You'll work the typical 8 to 7, most likely. So these are Japanese companies. So if you work for, I mean, I don't want to like name bomb people, but like, like if you work for Sony or like, I don't know, like Uniqlo or like, Japanese companies, I'm not saying those ones in particular are buraku kigyo, but Japanese companies typically will have more difficult work conditions. But gaishike, foreign companies, tend to be a little bit better in terms of work conditions. So I used to work for a gaishike. So what is that? It's a foreign company that also is based in Japan. So they have a Japan branch. And the benefit of that is that you're in Japan, working in Japan, but because it's a foreign company, like the headquarters are in the UK, that was my past company, the headquarters are overseas, the work culture starts at the top and trickles down. So it doesn't matter that you're working in Japan, it'll typically still have that foreigner working culture, which is typically, if it's the Western companies, usually a little bit more emphasis on work-life balance. And like, let's not do power harassment at work, and let's like have good opportunities for people to like go higher if they're ambitious, etc., etc. And like speak up, speak your mind. That was also at my company. So my company was just a really good company. Like, I never had to do any overtime. My boss was amazing, and you know, lots of opportunities. And I think it's because it was a foreign company. They were also just individually a really good company, and it does depend on the case. Just because you work for a foreign company doesn't mean you'll have good work conditions, okay? But that tends to be the pattern. So if you want to live in Japan and have a statistically better chance of working with better work conditions, you usually want to go for the foreign companies or gaishige. But yeah, do your research as well. It really depends on the case. But you get more pay, right? So salaries in Japan are typically lower than that in the West. So salaries are lower. The good thing is that the cost of living is also lower. Okay, so salaries are lower, but cost of living is lower. It's usually on par. Okay, do you get paid more for the overtime you do? That really depends on the company and the case. But Japan does have a lot of unpaid overtime. Like, a lot of my friends and people I've talked to do a lot of unpaid overtime, like at least half the hours that they do overtime. So from like the 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., sometimes 8, 9 p.m. A lot of times it's just unpaid. And it's just a lot of pressure because employees and employers are seen as trying to be loyal to each other. If you're the employee, you don't want to burden the company, right? So applying for overtime pay means that you're burdening the company by making them have to pay you more. And if you do like stick up for yourself sometimes and you're like, hey, can I get paid for this overtime? Then they'll do like a revision, right? They'll say, okay, well, why did you have to work so much overtime? Like, we should make sure that you can do your work on time. But then of course they'll give you like a ton of workload that you can't possibly get done in the regular work hours. And so you just kind of feel pressured that you have to say to finish your workload, and you're not allowed to apply for overtime pay. Even though they can't legally deny you, there's a lot of unspoken pressure to not apply for it. So yeah, that's kind of the darker side of working in Japan. Again, not every company, but it does happen. Nub Spider, what up? Nice to see you here. Got late due to some unexpected work. It happens. Glad you can make it though. And job stability and security in Japan is pretty good. Like, it's almost impossible to fire someone. I cover this in my last stream, but typically very difficult to fire somebody if you're a full-time worker. Like, you're not a contract worker, but like a full-time I don't know how you would translate that, but it's called seishain in Japanese. Regular employee, permanent employee. So basically, like, not a contract worker. If you're a regular employee, then it's very hard to fire you, even in tech. Please enlighten us on the important concept of ikemen. Of course, very important concept. Ikemen. I think I have a feeling I know who wrote this question. They might be from Austria. So ikemen. What does this mean? You probably know it. Even if you're a very beginner at Japanese, a high chance you know it, but just in case you don't. Handsome man. Good to know. Ikemen. So you'll see this, people say it all the time. So if someone's handsome, typically a man, say ikemen. Ikemen, very common word. Should definitely know, must know word. Unironically, you definitely should know this word if you're trying to learn Japanese. Ikemen comes up a lot. And where does it come from? This is something that maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't know. Oops, don't want to open up my files here. Ikemen. So, ikeru, iketeru, ikeru, iketeru. I think ikeru. Ikeru. Men's. Let me just double check, make sure that's right. Ikeru. Is that probably the most common way you say it? Yeah, so ikeru is to look good, right? I think I usually see it written in katakana. Here they're writing it in hiragana, but I think that's pretty much up to preference at that point. So ikemen comes from ikeru, which is to look good, and menzu. You want to guess what that means? Men. Men. So ikeru, men's. Ikemen, handsome man. And Japanese people will do this all the time. They'll just take two words and just plop them together, and now you get your real word, ikemen, handsome man. So there you go. Fun fact of the day. Definitely know this word. I wonder who asked this question. Yeah, I wonder, Bianca, who asked this question. Suspiciously using some emotes, these emojis that I've seen you use in chat. That's a coincidence, isn't it? Now this is education. You are ikemen. Just kidding. What do you mean just kidding, Nubis? You can't just say just kidding. Ridiculous. Yeah, stick to it. Stick to it. Rude. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Purper. Come on, like what? You can't just say just kidding. What the hell? Ikeru men's fire. Can you work while you're in college or high school? Depends on your visa. Typically, you're only allowed to work part-time and only for a set number of hours. All right, next question. Let me take a little swig of water. Gotta stay hydrated out here. Gotta make sure my mouth isn't getting too dry either. Gotta pronounce my words properly. All right, next question. Let me just open this bigger so I can read it all. There we go. Hi, I'm currently 15 years old and planning to move to Japan next year. Congratulations. I would like to enter a public high school, possibly starting from the second grade. Okay, yeah, so second year of high school. I wanted to ask you if this is even possible for a foreign student like me. Also, I'm a bit confused about the guardian requirement. Does the guardian have to be a relative, or can it be someone I know who lives in Japan? And do you think it would be realistic for me to apply next year? Thank you for your time. Thank you for your question. Unfortunately, I am most certainly not an expert in this field. I don't know anyone who's moved here for high school that I've talked to in depth. I've definitely seen cases like that, typically where their family moves. Like one of their parents is either Japanese or one of their parents gets a job in Japan, so they move the whole family over. And then, of course, the children often come along and then they need to go to high school, right? And then they start up with high school. So it's definitely possible and it happens. I don't know about the guardian requirement, if you can just come here on your own. Yeah, because I imagine, of course, if you're still underage, if you're starting high school, I'd say like 16, 17, it makes sense that you would need a guardian. And I don't know if they can just be someone you know who lives in Japan, but maybe. I'm not sure if they need to be like legally a guardian, or they can just be someone you know. So yeah, that's something you're gonna have to look up, because I'm really not an expert in this. And would it be realistic? Again, I'm not sure about the whole process itself. I would say the number one thing that comes to my mind is your Japanese going to be good enough for you to be able to do your studies in high school, right? Because like high school is no joke. Like you learn some like pretty tough stuff in high school, and like we were just talking earlier, high school tends to be the harder school in Japan, whereas it's usually university in the West. High school is the hard one in Japan. So if you're doing that harder school and it's in Japan and it's in Japanese, that's going to be tough. So it depends what your Japanese level is at. Are you already fluent, Or are you going to start studying now, or have you been studying for a while? If you haven't studied that much yet, I would say it's going to be pretty tough. And I would really focus on getting your Japanese better before anything else, or else I think it's going to be really challenging. Can one reach N2 level Japanese if they study the language for 1 hour daily, say for 4 years? As someone pretty much did what you said, I can confirm. No, Spider, awesome. Sounds like you did some great work consistently. And Bianca, yes, Toku is our Ikemen. You know what's up. Just kidding for 4 times, Nubis, get out of here. Freaking troll. I'll revoke your emotes. I don't even have the power to do that, but I'll find a way. Yeah, so that's my very limited knowledge on how you would go about doing that, but definitely more than anything, really focus on your Japanese language abilities. Is it at the level where you could do high school? I hope you read my question. I'm reading it right now. I know you answered this question before, but if I apply for MEXT, what's more important, the embassy exam marks or the high school exam marks? I get a lot of questions related to MEXT, and unfortunately, I'm really not an expert at it. I've never done it myself. I do have 2 friends who've successfully done it. One who's finished it, and one who I think is starting this year, maybe last year. And what MEXT is, again, it's a full scholarship. They pay for your entire tuition for university, as well as your living costs and a bit of allowance. So it's very competitive. And I didn't even know there's a thing called embassy exam marks. So that just shows you how much I'm knowledgeable on this topic, or the high school exam marks. I mean, could not tell you, but definitely, I mean, I would imagine high school exam marks are important. Because yeah, it's very competitive, so I couldn't see them ignoring that. Embassy exam marks, I'm not sure what that is. If you ask this question, feel free to explain, but again, I'm not an expert. You really have to look it up, and I'm sure there's people who've successfully done the MEXT and written about it as well, written blogs and made videos on it, so you're definitely better off asking them. Oh, Dusty Cat. Just moved to Japan as an international student under MEXT to do my master's at Nagoya University, and I'm struggling to settle in as I face endless amount of paperwork. It has only been a week. Well, welcome to Japan. Only 1 week, yeah, for sure. I mean, like, you're gonna be really just very much in like the getting into the swing of things. So congrats on making a huge move. That's super exciting and awesome that you got MEXT. I mean, if you can help answer this question on the screen, because I'm not an expert, but clearly you are, as a successful MEXT applicant. So definitely hit us up with some knowledge if you got some. Are the embassy exam marks or high school exam marks more important? I have no idea what the embassy exam marks are, so that's where I stand. Yeah, I should stop. I love this guy. I appreciate your love. I appreciate your tough love, Nubis. It's all love and jokes out here. I still feel tired from all the travels as well. I just feel like I'm not enjoying my time, and I fear this feeling will continue, but maybe I should just give it more time. I mean, it's only been a week, Dusty. Like, I mean, it's gonna be tough. Like the first week for sure. Like, you just moved here, give it some time. Like, I think in any country you move to, like, you'll never feel settled in the first week. Like, it'll take some time. And the beginning's tough because you have all this paperwork and regulation, and you gotta like move into your house and figure so much thing out, get furniture, get the lights, get the gas, the internet. It's a lot of work. Definitely give it some time. It's a bit of a grind, but just get through it, and you'll slowly build a community as well, and you'll be able to fall into a routine, and then you can judge for yourself whether you enjoy it or not. But for now, just stick to it, I'd say, and then see how you feel. Toku Ikemen and emote cult. Got to. Did your college degree help for landing a job? And would I recommend masters or sticking to bachelors? Again, like feel free to ask the question in the Marshmallow if you want an actual detailed answer, but short answer, yes, it did help. And whether I recommend a master's or bachelor's depends on your situation. When you apply for the MEX, there is exams for undergraduate math, chemistry, biology, English, Japanese, which are a must for MEXT. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. So it's like MEXT specific exams? That's intense. I'm the one who asked the question. Okay, thanks for your question, Rover. Yeah, first 2 weeks were tough when I did my exchange. Once university starts and you meet people, it's the best. Thank you, Nora, for your input. Yeah, it's really tough just settling into anywhere. So yeah, definitely give it some time. Yeah, and again, you know, once you start meeting people and building a community, that's when you really start to feel like a second home is here. So give it time. It'll never feel settled in 1 week or even 2 weeks or even a couple months. Like just the more time you're here, the more time you'll have to establish yourself. And Benji West is out here. Love to see it. In Spinam Car, yes, been to Japan 4 times already and then decided to learn Japanese because you'll be visiting a lot more. I know, it's just such a great country, right? And even if you don't plan on living here, knowing Japanese for travel is like, it helps a lot. Like it'll just upgrade your experience. So good for you. All right, let me refresh my inbox here. Yeah, here we go. Lots of questions here. Oops. I don't know why my when I click on questions it turns really weird. Okay, well, first of all, let me restart this. My Marshmallow just went all black, so I couldn't see your beautiful questions. So let me just boot her back up. And I did find a question that I wanted to answer here. So this is the next one on the list. Okay. My name comes out really weird in katakana. What can I do about it? Yeah. This happens a lot. Yeah. Like, especially if you have like a very foreign name with a lot of letters in it. Like, I think a lot of Polish names tend to be a little bit long and it can get like ridiculous. I don't even know what are like long katakana names. Yeah, Armstrong. Again, like Armstrong, it's just like, you know, mildly long name, medium name, length name in English, but it's very easy to pronounce, Armstrong. But yeah, if you say it in Japanese, like Armstrong, it just feels like you're adding so many unnecessary vowels to it, right? Armstrong. And it can get even more complicated. Yeah, Alexandra, Alexandria. I mean, that one's still like okay, but like it can get like pretty intense. If it comes out weird in katakana, you can definitely give yourself a nickname. I think for government documents, you probably want to keep the weird katakana if it's accurate as it can be to pronouncing your name in Japanese. Keep it for your official documents. But when you introduce yourself to people, you can definitely just use a nickname. Like whatever you enjoy using can be just like a Japanese nickname, or it can be just a shortened version of your katakana name. So yeah, in daily life, I don't think it would bother you too much, but yeah, I can see how maybe it's a little bit tricky to give your full name out in formal situations, but yeah, definitely don't be afraid to use a nickname. And then meanwhile, Nora with Nora. Literally nothing changes. Such a good translation. Yeah, and Bianca as well. Bianca. Yeah, definitely like really easy translations. Sometimes you're blessed with it if you have vowels in your name, sometimes you're not. But sometimes it just like kind of spices it up, right? You know, it gives you a little Japanese flavor to it. And Jonathan Japan, thank you for becoming a Sakura supporter. Thanks for becoming a member. Enjoy your emotes. Appreciate the love. Yeah, Nora. Mine is pretty fun with Gyamburu. Gyamburu. Your name is Gyamburu? Yeah, I tend to use it as a pun with my students. That's funny. Yeah, you definitely should. That's funny. Your name is literally Gamble. Very easy to remember. I'm always a lurker. Why did this noti leak me? Yeah, I mean, you're free to be a lurker as much as you want. I love the support, whether you like to interact in the chat or just kind of watch passively from the sidelines. But no pressure to be out here and chat. But unfortunately, YouTube did leak you out here with the shout out. But either way, I appreciate the support. So thanks for always watching, whether or not you're commenting or chatting or not. I really do appreciate the support. What's the most known anime in Japan? One Piece, Naruto, Death Note? Most known. Not Death Note, for sure. Not Death Note. I've met Japanese people who don't know what that is. One Piece, Naruto. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think there's going to be a single Japanese person who doesn't know what One Piece or Naruto is. Like, they're just both massive, right? I think literally every Japanese person would know them unless they're like deep in the countryside and just so far removed from the world. Like, you'd have to find some really like old oji-san who's only worked on the rice paddy fields his entire life, doesn't believe in internet or electricity, and then maybe he doesn't know what One Piece is. But for the most part, people know what it is. If I had to pick one from this list, if I had to pick One Piece or Naruto, probably One Piece. I hear slightly more often, but they're both huge. I mean, Dragon Ball Z is another huge one, of course. Again, I don't think there'd be many people who don't know what it is. Slam Dunk is another one. It's a basketball one. And I mean, if you're an anime lover, you probably have heard of it as well. But I'd say it's less so heard in the West because it's an older anime. It's from the 90s. Yeah, 1990 to 1996. But I would say like almost everyone in Japan knows this one. And it's a beloved anime. Maybe the younger crowd, some people haven't heard of it because it's an older one, but it's just, yeah, very popular, very well known. One Piece is on another level. They even have a live action. Yeah, for sure. One Piece is just massive. Slam Dunk is really popular where I live. Where do you live then? Like foreign? Like overseas or like in Japan? Anpanman. Yeah, Anpanman. Anpanman. This, our beloved red bean bread man, which is, I guess you could technically say it's an anime, but it's a children's cartoon in Japan. And yeah, I think, again, everyone knows what it is. But I only heard of it, of course, once I moved to Japan. I think it's only in Japan, maybe in some other neighboring Asian countries, but not that I know of. But yeah, it's this guy right here. Anpanman. Red bean bread man. Pokemon, yeah, true. If you consider Pokemon an anime, you know, who doesn't know what Pokemon is? Attack on Titan, also huge, yeah, of course. Pretty much, like, there's a huge overlap on what's known overseas and what's known in Japan. Yo, Benji West, what are you doing out here setting 10 gifted memberships? Get out of here. Holy moly. The goat out here spreading the love. What are you doing, man? I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the love. Aren't you supposed to be driving right now? You better not have just crashed your car on your way back from Gifu just to send me 10 gifted memberships. But I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And thanks for being my co-creator in Osaka. I love what you're doing with your live streams. If you guys don't know, Benji West is a streamer. His main channel is on Twitch. This guy right here, Benji West. So he also lives in Osaka. I actually met him in Osaka, originally from the UK. And he does a lot of IRL streaming in Japan. So if you're interested in IRL content, definitely give him a peek. He streams way more often than I do. I think multiple times a week. And yeah, him and his girlfriend Kotatsu Princess, they do a lot of collab content as well. Very interesting, and they travel so much so you get to literally see all the parts of Japan. So definitely check them out. And sometimes I make an appearance as well, a little bonus as well. Yeah, the memberships go crazy. We're gonna add more emotes, baby. Let's go. Yeah, exactly, Nubis. More emotes in the near future. Confirmed car crash. Yeah, Kotatsu Princess. Oh no. Well, I'm glad you survived the car crash. I haven't heard anything from Benji, so I guess we've lost him. But I mean, I'm glad he got to end his life with a very positive note by sending some gifted memberships. So yeah. Shout outs to Benji's last will. All right, next question. All right, let me scroll up. Yeah, okay. So after I finish high school, I want to go to a technological senmongakko or trade school to learn how to use CNC machinery. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what that is. After that, I'm hoping I'll get hired at a factory, for example, Toyota. My plan is to leave my country with N2 JLPT. What do you think of my plan? I mean, my first thought is, what the heck is CNC? CNC machinery. What is this? Computer numerical control refers to automated manufacturing tools operated by pre-programmed software. I mean, if you were to come to a country to do this kind of work, I think Japan is the place to do it, because as we all know, Japan has a huge population crisis. Their population is declining. And so what the Japanese government is doing is replacing a lot of the workers, because there's smaller and smaller workforce every year. They're trying to replace their workforce with this automated manufacturing and machines. So, I mean, if you go to a senmongakko to learn this, I'm sure, I'm not an expert, I'm not a recruiter or a job expert, but I'm sure there would be a lot of opportunities to find jobs in this field. And if you leave your country with N2 and then do the senmongakko, yeah, I think that's great. Like, I think you should, if you do senmongakko, trade school in Japan, you should have an N2 or N1 level. And then you'll do the senmongakko, you'll learn your CNC machinery education, and you'll just get better at Japanese while you do it. And then I think it's going to be in a job market that is really growing in Japan. So I think it's a fantastic plan. I think it's amazing. So definitely. And what is going on in the chat? We get another 10 gifted memberships from Neo Spation 1. Get out of here. Another 10 gifted in like the span of like 5 minutes is absurd. You guys are insane. Man, I don't even know what to say. Thank you so much for the support, like your comments in chat always, and just like, yeah, being able to talk to you guys in the chat. Like, this is why I wanted to do the live streams, because like I actually get to feel like I'm interacting with you guys. It's not just a video that I upload every, you know, couple of months, or maybe shorts I upload every few days. I feel like I can actually have a conversation with you guys in real time, answer your questions you have about life in Japan or Japanese language. And yeah, when you guys like, you know, show your support by watching or sending comments and sending these gifted memberships, it means a lot. So thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I see. I'm reading in the chat before that. I see Neo's like, I'll match that right now. Now that I know about this feature, and they followed up on their word. That's ridiculous. And thanks so much for the shout out, says Benji. Can't wait to hang out again soon. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, didn't realize I haven't shouted out your channel yet, but it's definitely, yeah, great opportunity to do so. And yeah, I mean, keep up the great work. I mean, you just put in that good effort on a consistent basis for so long, and you know, you're starting to grow in followers and views, and I love to see that you're connecting more with more streamers and your content's leveling up every time. So keep up the good work, and it really motivates me seeing you put so much into it as well, especially since you're still working a full-time job on top of everything and traveling. Like, it's honestly incredible how you balance everything and you make it happen. So yeah, inspires me as well. So let's keep let's keep doing our thing. Yeah, if this keeps up, everyone's gonna be members straight up. The emote propaganda working. Yeah. Brother, I can smell these new emotes. Yeah, it's coming, Nubis, I'm saying. This is my first time being able to actually be around for a stream and not knowing about the gifted memberships. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I had no idea how YouTube streaming worked when I first started. Oh man, yo Nubis, thank you for the gifted membership again. Let me join the crew, but sadly I am broke. Yeah, definitely no pressure to send a bunch of memberships, but yeah, whatever you can afford, even if it's like $0, like just, you know, you guys showing up and watching and putting your comments in chat, it really means a lot to me, and that's, you know, that's more than enough. And yeah, thank you so much again for the gift membership as well. Tokuyuu president 2030. Unfortunately, I'm not a US citizen, so I can't do that, but we can we'll be the president of YouTube. How's that? Tokuyuu is the reason I feel like life in Japan is tangible and giving me the path forward. I owe this man a lot. I really appreciate that, Neo, and it means a lot. I'm really glad that my videos could help you out, and that's what I'm trying to do, right? Like, I went through all the struggles of having to self-study and waste a lot of time doing the wrong things, and moving here was such a struggle that I want to put it in succinct videos that really lay out the path on what I would do if I were to do it again. So I'm really glad my videos could help you, because that's why I make them. And then these live streams as well, so you can ask more specific questions. Yeah. At this rate, we're gonna run out of people to get gifted. So true. Yeah. So true. I love the love, guys. Like, it's incredible. Bro, in comparison to how much you helped me with studying, that's nothing. I really appreciate that, Nubis. For real, Tokuyuu helped me clear the path for learning Japanese. Thank you, Marmotescu. You guys freaking putting the biggest smile on my face. I feel so goofy. I got the goofiest smile on my face right now, but yeah, it really means a lot to me. So thank you so much. So nice. All right, let me try to answer a few questions. You know, gotta keep doing what I'm supposed to be here for. You know, let's see if we can get through a few more questions. Okay, how are East Asian foreigners seen as by the general, like Koreans, Chinese, Mongolian? Good question, and one that I will try to answer without getting canceled. So, first of all, it depends on the person. It depends on the Japanese person. For the most part, I would say Japanese people don't care. They just don't care where you're from. Whether you're from like the West or like some Asian country, they could not care less. They're probably just like, is this person obeying the rules? Are they being a nuisance to our society? If they're not, okay, great. We love them. And do they speak Japanese? Oh, awesome. I can interact with them too. I mean, that's probably the majority of people. Unfortunately, there is also a little bit of a prejudice against other people of Asian descent. And I specifically saw this. I see this in two cases. One is in, say, dating. I see a lot of people like, oh, like, 外国人と付き合ってみたいな. Like, I want to date a foreigner. And when they say foreigner, they almost always refer to the West. Typically an image of like a white person. If I had to really zero in on what most people are probably thinking when they say that, I want to date a foreigner, it usually refers to a white person. And it probably comes from like Hollywood movies. Like, their image of white people is probably like Tom Cruise and like Brad Pitt. So like, they're like, oh, every white guy is just like hella attractive, but it's like, it's just from the movies, guys. Like, they don't all look like that. So there's a little bit of bias that I think like Western people are like these Hollywood level beautiful people. Here, let me switch this so I'm here with you. And the second one that I see it, I saw this come up in housing. So when I got this apartment that I'm living in right now, I was talking to the real estate agent. I was just asking him a bunch of questions about like how the whole process worked. And one of the things I asked was, okay, I'm a Canadian, right? Like I'm a foreigner. Is it going to be harder for me to sign the contract for my apartment? And he said, no, you'll be okay. And even better, because I'm a permanent resident, I get treated like a Japanese citizen. Fantastic. At least in terms of the guarantor fee. I don't know, maybe the landlord has some biases, some prejudice, but in terms of the guarantor fee and how I'm legally treated with the fees, I'm the exact same as a Japanese person. Great. But they also said it can be tough for people of East Asian descent or from East Asian countries. He specifically said, I think Vietnam as like an example. It can be hard for Vietnamese people to get a contract for a housing because there have been cases where people from those countries don't obey the rules. And I think it's kind of created this bias that everyone from those countries is like that. But the example he gave me is that, you know, there was an apartment that was for rent and it's a 1-bedroom apartment. Like it's meant for one person or a couple. But what, in this case, a Vietnamese person did is they went there with their entire 10-person family. In this apartment that was strictly supposed to be for 1 or 2 people, they went there with a 10-person family. And of course, like you can't possibly fit 10 people comfortably in a 1-bedroom apartment. It was really loud for the neighbors and they were just trashing the place. And unfortunately, that creates a really bad reputation for other people from, say, Vietnam or other East Asian countries, even though obviously not everyone from those countries is like that. Unfortunately, there is enough of those cases that there's a bit of a prejudice that grows from that. So yeah, I think sometimes with dating and with housing, there can be a bit of a prejudice against other Asian ethnicities. But in general, for the most part, I think people don't really care. As long as you just obey the rules in society and you speak Japanese, you're cool, you're a cool person, like you're great, you know? So, you know, if there's people in the chat who have personal experiences, I would love to hear it. But for the most part, obey the rules, speak Japanese, be a cool person, and I think you'll be all right. For the most part, you'll be all right. The guys that didn't get their memberships, that'd be me. If you stick around long enough, Nora, I'm sure it'll come your way. What do the memberships do? You basically just get access to the emotes. That's the main perk. And you also, you know, get a nice little color in the chat as well, and the Sakura pedal that will upgrade the longer you're a member. But the main purpose was to give access to the emotes, because I had to make it a membership fee because YouTube doesn't allow it any other way. So, and with the more memberships we get, the more emotes we can add. So it's even better. Yo, what, Neo, what are you doing? Another 10 gifted? That's crazy. Oh my goodness. Another 10 gifted. You are insane. And I don't see Nora on the list. This 10 gets gifted. This is killing me. This is hilarious. Oh my goodness, Neo. What? You are insane. Yeah, Nora. Yeah, good emoji usage. Just like the serious face with the party popper. Congratulations, guys. I'm so happy for you. I don't control the lottery, I swear. It's the YouTube gods, you know. Clearly, Nora, you haven't been pleasing the YouTube gods lately, and that's the only reason why you haven't gotten one. So I think you gotta change something, you know. Maybe pray more at the YouTube shrine when you next visit Japan. And thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Neo. I appreciate the love. You're setting so much hype. It's incredible. So yeah, Marmotescu, do Japanese own houses or pay rents? And yeah, Neo, they do both. Some even own the apartment they live in, but they still pay a monthly fee for maintenance. Yeah, that's on point. I'd say like home ownership is probably a little bit less common in Japan because there are just so many more apartments. But yeah, like Neo said, a lot of times they'll just own the apartments or like a condo, I suppose. And then yeah, they'll pay like the maintenance fee for the building. Exactly. And Benji, thank you for answering questions in the chat as well. I appreciate it. And you still get ads. Yeah, true. It would be nice if members didn't have to get ads. I wonder if I can control that, but I don't think I can. I can check it out later. Yeah, is Shintoism still a big thing in Japan? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Shinto shrines out here, for sure. All right, let me see if I can get to another question here. Before I do that, 2FT Real, thank you for becoming a Sakura supporter. Thanks for becoming a member. Appreciate the love. Enjoy your emotes. What are the most common mistakes foreigners make when living in Japan? Great question. One has already popped into my head, and it's the most classic mistake that all foreigners make. Can you guess what that is? And I've done it probably 5 times already. I still probably do it occasionally. They don't take off their shoes. There's so many places in Japan, like I don't blame you. There's so many places in Japan that you don't think you need to take off your shoes, but you need to take off your shoes. Of course, entering people's house, there's the genkan in Japan. So Japanese apartments always have a part, like a foyer in the house. Okay. It looks like that. I mean, this is a really fancy one, but right. So it'll always be like a lowered area just in front of the front door as you walk in, and you have to take your shoes off there. And then you step up into the house. Do not walk into a Japanese person's house or apartment with your shoes on. They will look at you in utter shock. Like, how can you do this to me? Don't do it. And the trickier part, some restaurants also require you to take your shoes off. For the most part, you leave your shoes on totally. But if they have this kind of genkan style, this foyer style, and they have slippers or whatever, you need to take off your shoes. I actually went to one with Benji. I think, was it 1 week ago or was it 2 weeks ago? I think there was a bar that we went to that was like high school themed or middle school or whatever school themed. And you had to take your shoes off. And then you put on like your slippers or whatever, or your student shoes. But yeah, those are cases where a foreigner probably doesn't experience that in the West or anywhere else. And they'll just walk in with their shoes on, and like Japanese people will just be utterly like in disbelief. How could you dirty our floors? So that's a huge one. And Daffy DD, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate the love. At this point, just walk outside without shoes on like L from Death Note. True. You can't forget to take your shoes off if you never put your shoes on. That's the true big brain. In Belgium over here, it's pretty much custom to take your shoes off indoors as well. That's interesting. Like at restaurants too. I imagine you're referring to like an apartment or house, but it's the same in Canada. In some people's houses in Canada, I think it's more of an American thing, but in some people's houses, they keep their shoes on in the house. And it's just like, why do you do that? Like you literally walk on dirt and mud with these shoes. Why are you walking inside the house with them on? It kind of blows my mind, but for the most part, I don't see it in Canada either. If you're talking about houses. All right. Bro, you literally can't answer my question because you get too much money. I mean, if you ask something in chat and then like the 10 gifted memberships just like flood the chat, then yeah, it's gonna get sent up. Nothing I can do about that. I have exactly 1 year from today before I move to Japan. I've only been learning Japanese for the past 2 weeks, but for the remaining year I have left, what can I do in this year to prepare? Yeah, I mean, great that you've gotten started, and congratulations on having your plan to move to Japan set up already. I think the biggest thing you can do is just keep studying every day. Like if you have 1 year, you can get a lot done if you just stay consistent every day. I have like videos on like how to get fluent from nothing. That'll be a good place to start. I mean, you've already put in 2 weeks, but I think it'll still give you lots of good information on how to get going. And yes, and then my other videos, I have all the breakdowns on what I would do as like a daily study habit as well. So definitely the Japanese language is the #1 thing you can do. And then maybe closer to your move date, or even now, you could watch my video on how to move to Japan. And I think that would give you a lot of heads up on what you can expect as well. And yeah, thank you again for becoming a member. TFT real. And as someone wanting to move to Japan, what is the healthcare system like? And healthcare system is very nice. Yeah. In Japan, it's typically you pay 30% personally out of pocket, and the government covers 70% up to a max, right? So if you have like to have surgery for like $100,000, that doesn't mean you need to pay 30,000. It's capped at like a few thousand is my understanding. But anything below the few thousand threshold, you're paying 30% out of pocket. And then the quality of healthcare itself is fantastic. Like you get seen right away. You can pick whatever clinic you want to go to. Yeah, a lot of freedom, good quality. Yeah, honestly better than Canada's, in my opinion. It's great. And honestly, I like that you do have to pay a little bit to get healthcare. Obviously, in the perfect world, you don't need to pay for it. And health is something that I think should be guaranteed for everybody, no matter your economic status. But in the real world, there are a lot of people who take advantage of the healthcare system if it is free, because it's like, oh, it's free. I may as well just like, hey, something's just slightly bothering me. I'll just like go get it checked out, and like it'll cost the system like thousands of dollars, but whatever, I don't pay for it. But in Japan, since you have a little bit of skin in the game with your 30% that you have to pay, I think that helps to discourage people from taking advantage of the system. So in practicality, I do like that you do have to pay a little bit. And the service is great, so maybe that is attributed to it as well. I love the Eevee in the background. It's in my 3 favorite Pokemon. Even have a plushie. Yeah. Eevee. Yeah, they're super cute, right? I even have a Flareon plushie as well. I don't know if you can see that right here. It's very dark, but at the top of my wardrobe here, I have a Flareon plushie. It's very cute, very soft. We got it at the Pokemon Center. I think I was too focused on what I wanted to say, almost marched in with my shoes. Luckily, the sales assistant stopped me in time. Yeah. Yeah, usually they'll be like, no, please stop. Don't walk in with your shoes. Yeah, and as you guys can probably tell, it is already 11:04. So we are out of time today. Thank you guys so much. How do you get channel XP? I want to be in the top 3. I don't know how you do it. I think you have to comment a lot and maybe watch time. I'd have to look that up. I think it has to do with comments and maybe watch time. Thanks for the delightful stream tonight. Yeah, good callback. Very boring name. It was delightful having you. Yeah, channel XP domain expansion. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ann Steele. Thanks for your question, and thanks for coming to join us. Stream XP is for typing in the chat a lot. Okay. Thank you, Ibby. Appreciate the the insight. Peak stream, thank you, Marmo. If I may call you that. I don't know. If you have a nickname, let me know. Daffy DD, thank you. Tokuyuu, thank you. Thanks for your questions and your comments in the chat. Let's go to some of this. I literally wrote 30 comments in the entire stream. Yeah, I know. I mean, the leaderboard is tough out here, you know? They're hard to compete with. But I'm sure you're up there because you've definitely put in a lot of messages out here. Great stream. Arigato sensei. Arigato Zanella Bean. Appreciate you watching. Oh man, I just joined. I mean, that's what happens when you join at the end of the stream. But I mean, hopefully you can join next time, Moby. I'll be doing this every 2 weeks. So I am planning, I just mentioned this last stream, but I am planning on making this a regular occurrence every other Sunday at 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. JST. So the next one will be in 2 weeks. And yeah, that gives me enough time to prepare and then, you know, have my editor make some shorts out of like the amazing questions that you guys give me. So yeah, shout outs to you guys for helping me make more content as well and just creating some good interactions in the chat as well. Benji West, yeah, congrats on the great stream. Thank you and welcome. Yes, welcome all the new Sakura members for sure. We got a lot of them this stream for sure, thanks to you guys. So yeah, thank you so much, including you, Benji. So appreciate you. Yeah. Thank you, Tokuyuu. You're the first one who I've ever watched a whole stream. Thank you, Rover. Oh, I'm honored and surprised. I feel like, I mean, it's still stream number 5, right? So I'm still trying to get used to things, but absolutely honored that you stuck around and watched the whole thing. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, sorry. It was just, yeah, we're out of time, so I can't answer any more questions. But yeah, feel free to hold on to them, and you can always ask them again in 2 weeks, and I'll do my best to get around to them. Yeah, and I would say stroke order is important. I would learn it for sure. All right, yes, thank you guys so much again for coming out, watching the stream for however long you did, whether it was 2 minutes or the whole 2 hours. And thank you those for becoming members if you decided to do so, or gift members to others. Really appreciate your additional support. It really means a lot to me. It's still stream number 5, like I said, like it's still early on in the process. So again, if there's anything that I can do better format for the stream, you know, what we do, what kind of questions we do, or like anything I can improve with the layout or anything, please let me know. Like I really want to like keep improving this every time. And yeah, that's definitely going to be a collaborative effort. So, and you guys are the viewers, right? You have all the knowledge on what your experience is. So I really value your input. So always let me know, whether it's in the chat live or in the comments afterwards. Always happy to read your comments. So yeah, thank you again so much for watching and chatting. It's always a pleasure talking to you guys. So yeah, without further ado, I will see you guys in 2 weeks time, hopefully. So until then, yeah, stay safe, keep up your studying, and let's keep on dreaming about Japan. All right, Tokuyuu out.